Hi, this is Ingrid Dehart, nutrition coach and holistic chef, and today we're going to make a raw spring nori roll. And what makes it raw is we're going to make it with rice made from cauliflower instead of the usual rice. And I love that because it makes it low glycemic and full of nutrition. So let me show you how to make the rice. We start with pine nuts, which we're going to put into a food processor, and just process that for a few pulses. You see, you just want to break it up a little bit because then we're going to add the cauliflower. You see, it's just broken up a little bit. You don't want to get it too fine because it'll get mushy. Then we add about 4 cups of coarsely chopped cauliflower. And this time we're going to process this using the pulse until it resembles rice. This looks pretty good to me. It's close to a rice consistency. I'm just going to pulse it one more time. Okay, that's just a little bit finer. More like rice. And you can scrape down the sides so any of the pine nuts that may have accumulated on the sides gets mixed in. Once we have that rice consistency, we're going to add about a tablespoon of sesame oil, dark sesame oil, and about a tablespoon of lemon juice, about a half a teaspoon of Celtic sea salt. And then I'll just pulse that one more time, a quick second, to mix it all together. Now we're ready to roll the sushi. To do this, we're going to use nori seaweed. I like the toasted kind, but if you prefer, you can do the raw. And there's 2 sides. There's the shiny side and the dull side. And there's little lines in here. So you're going to line up the lines so that they're vertical in front of you, and the shiny side down. And take a quarter of the rice that you made, the raw rice, put it onto the nori. And if you want, you can divide it up into quarters before you get started, just so you know you're going to have enough. And then you're going to press this down so that you're leaving space on the top and the bottom. And you want to get it all the way out to the sides so that each nori that you're going to cut has equal amount of rice in it. Your fingers work pretty well, but you definitely want to get it all the way out to the sides, leaving space at the top and the bottom. And press it down so it's in there pretty tight as well. Okay, we're going to put in our avocado. The plate here has avocado, cucumbers, sauerkraut, julienne carrots, and basil, which I've cut in half. I used a knife to cut the cucumbers, and I used a julienne tool to make the carrots. So you have your avocado, and you want it to go all the way across. Cucumbers. And you're going to have it fall onto the place where there is the space, but not all the way because you want to be able to roll it. The carrots. A little bit of sauerkraut to give it some nice flavor and get in those good probiotics that we like. And then the basil leaves, which I think adds just a lovely flavor. We used to make this in my restaurant, Arnold's Turtle, and we would use shiso leaves, but I haven't been able to find those anywhere, so I use basil instead. Okay, we're ready now. So you start by rolling over the nori over the vegetables, tucking it all in. If you ever rolled anything else, you'll get the idea. It's a similar concept. So you start rolling that over, and then you take the tatami mat, if you're using it, and just use it to press in a little bit so you get it as tight as possible. And if this is coming over the top, you can just take some of it off. And then when you get to the end, You can use a little water to seal it here like an envelope. And there you have it. And we're going to cut it right away, because if it sits too long, when it sits, the nori gets soft. So you want to cut it right away, and you want to make sure you have a very, very sharp knife. And when you're cutting it, have the seam be on the bottom. So you see that one, the seam came up a little bit, so I just rolled it a little bit so the seam is on the bottom so it doesn't come up when you cut it. I'm going to cut it into about 6 pieces. And that's it. The top one, you'll put the sticking out vegetables up, and then you just lay these out on the plate, nice and pretty. And that's it. The raw spring nori rolls you can serve with tamari and some wasabi, and if you have some pickled ginger, that's nice too. Enjoy.